right, let's get this party started. I'm very excited. Okay, so I'm finding a lot of value in pulling from recent clinical experiences. So when I started doing this again from last weekend, here's what I got. Your spouse is doing it wrong. They need to change. Your spouse did not bring what you wanted or were familiar with to work with, so she is too complicated. He is too complicated. Why even try to make it better after all these years? Next one. The two of you are too different. You might as well give up. Once I started experimenting with empathy, psychological empathy, I lost my quick fix psychology. Once I started to really listen to people and go, that's complicated. Okay, I can get now why you have lost hope. I can see now why you are feeling the give up sensation. And then as I watched this couple and I tried to walk them through the process of raising a marriage from the dead, the process of bringing about a miracle. Now, one of the elements of this couple's background is they've both been believing LDS people for their whole lives. But when I proposed the idea of a miracle for their marriage, they looked at me as if I was crazy. They're like, I don't think you get it. Sure, what about a miracle where a baby's raised from the dead, a miracle where someone's healed from an illness? But let's not go looking for a miracle where a man and a woman who discover that they have a lot of incompatibilities can actually create a beautiful marriage together. Let's look at the satanic attack on this. Let's expose the devil of one of his most sneaky techniques on people within our culture, within our religion, when he creates an atmosphere where miracles are not expected. As we go through this, I invite you to continue your application to this in yourself and think about the question in your life: in what arenas have you resigned yourself to no miracle because that's just the way it is? So this first one is the one we all remember. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, blah, 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 blah. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. Now, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but look at the first phrase in the next several verses. By faith, Noah did this. By faith, Abraham this. By faith this, by faith that. As a scientist of psychology, transposing faith, and then we pull in the New Testament story of the father who had to try this. He'd already tried that. He'd already tried this with his son. When he comes to Christ and says, I don't actually believe you can do any good here. And Christ says, never before have I seen such great faith. Faith does not mean you know what the outcome is going to be. Look at your own life and see where you've lost faith. And then the phrase that I want to teach you today is, it would take a miracle. It would take a miracle, and that miracle would need to be. The mistake I was making is, it would take a miracle and then throw up my hands. Then I started getting a piece of paper out and say, it would take a miracle, and that miracle would be, I would have to learn how to be married to a thinker. That would be a miracle. I would have to learn how to actually listen to someone's feelings. That would take a miracle. You mix that up with the satanic mist of darkness, where the miracle was just kind of in the fog, and all I was hearing up to that point was, I would have to be different. That's too foggy. That's not specific enough. I would have to learn how to remember what she says, and I would have to learn how to take it seriously, even though I don't understand it. A little joke, I ran into someone I went to high school with after I'd become a therapist for a short period of time, and when she says, well, what did you decide to become professionally? And I said, a therapist. She almost, like, if she had milk in her mouth, it would have come out her nose. Because she's like, you, a therapist? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard before. Knuckle dragger, insensitive, egotistical Maurice becomes a therapist? Now, she didn't say any of that out loud, you know. She was very courteous about only showing the whole thing on her face, doing that polite smile. Oh. So many of my personality characteristics are just as much of a miracle as raising Jairus' daughter from the dead. Look at your own life. Look at what you've gotten used to that's like a thorn in your shoe, and let's see if we can clarify the miracle. It's not really that weird to keep your hopes low so that you can keep your disappointment low. That's not weird, all right? But we also know that the flip side of it is diminished if that gets in our head too far. Many miracles we could be participating in are not even being tried because we fear disappointment. This is a reoccurring theme when I work with life coaches and apprentices, where we talk a little bit about their gifts and their talents. I give them a small homework assignment to work on, and they don't do it. One of my funnest ones is I'll tell one of them, I want you to make a video, a 3-minute video teaching your favorite principle. I have master's degree level people that are hesitant to do that. And I'm all, what are you worried about? And I've got this highly intelligent person that says, I'm afraid I'll look stupid. Then the next level of it is I've got a couple of them that have actually followed through on it. We post their video, we post their article, and after a week, they have like 10 hits on it. And they're like, see, it didn't even make a difference. See, it wasn't even a big deal. Why would I put in all this time and effort if 10 people barely looked at it, or I didn't get any new clients off of it, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going, this is the scariest moment in time, because if you buy into the idea that that effort didn't produce a miracle, therefore I'm not going to put in any efforts anymore. If you want to be inspired in a weird way, get YouTube out and watch videos on NFL quarterbacks who throw interceptions and get crushed by 300-pound people, and then they get up and do it again. It's one thing for someone to be rude to you and say, your speech was lame, I don't like you. But your brain remembers when a 300-pound person crushes you, and your body says, ain't doing that again. But they do it again, and they do it again. Satan squashes motivation towards seeking miracles. This whole system takes us right back to the DPAR, the Discover, Plan, Act, Reflect. So let's say I discover that I have not been hoping for a miracle in this area. So I'm now going to re-access some hope and re-access some desire for a miracle. I'm going to make a plan for my part of that miracle. I'm going to act upon that plan. And then I need to reflect in a way that doesn't crush me. I overextended there. I pushed myself a little too far. I need to temper my approach to it. Or I underinvested this time. So I need to step it up a notch. The key is to keep the cycle going so that you don't get stagnated in falling into this non-action-based psychology. Let me give you an example of when I chose to release a miracle. Logan to Jackson bike ride that is like 200 miles or something like that. I'm a road biker, but extremely amateur. I just do it for, rejuvenation activities. After about 2 years of just kind of doing some casual workouts, I did the numbers, and it would take me 12 hours to complete that ride at my normal pace. And my legs are falling off after 2 hours. How would I ever do that? So I spent a summer pushing and pushing and trying and pushing and trying, but what ended up happening is it made the rest of my life out of balance. And so I have no doubt that if I kept pursuing that, I could have completed that goal within 2 or 3 years, but it also would have seriously compromised my marriage, my family, and my business. And so by using a version of the DPAR, I reflected and said, I need to release that goal. I need to let go of that hope. I need to set it at rest intentionally. Now there's others, like I set a goal 10 years ago to have 2,000 Sons of Helaman attending and enrolled per week. And it looked decently reasonable at the pace we were growing if we just kept trying. When I reached age 50, 3 years ago, we barely had 400. My hopes and expectations were unfulfilled. I had the option to do the same thing I did with the bicycle thing. It's not realistic, it would take too much time, etc., etc. So maybe you should give up on that goal. I feel that goal is not something that is wise to let go of. I think it can be pulled off by a miracle. Expectations usually involve wanting someone else to be different. That's what I've seen in my practice. Well, I was expecting her to do this. I was expecting my child to do this. From my observation, expectations usually create problems. Now, hoping is more effective as long as with other people, you hope in the same way that you hope for sun for a picnic. You don't expect it to be sunny today so we can have a picnic. Now, what do you do if it's not sunny? Most of us have equipped ourselves with adaptation skills so that when it's not sunny, we can stay home and have a picnic in front of the fireplace. Because human beings around us are unpredictable like the weather, It's wiser to hope than it is to expect. And I also feel this way about miraculous goals, because no matter how many hard times I've tried, I have not been able to convince God to follow my agenda. Let's nail these down. My marriage would be or could be great if, and then list out a miracle. My personal development would be going great if, my financial world would be great if, and then to really surface a satanic game in your head, look for this one. I would hope for this, but that would take a miracle. I invite you to continue the conversation. That miracle would be ... Imagine Moses is on his way toward Egypt for the first time after he's coming home, and a buddy rides his camel up next to him. What are you doing? I'm going to Egypt. Why? I'm going to talk Pharaoh into releasing the Israelites. Oh, now wouldn't a good friend suggest that that was a little too ambitious? Isn't that really what Laman and Lemuel were doing with Nephi when Nephi was building a boat? Nephi, you've never done this before. It's not really your thing. Just out of love, we're suggesting don't be stupid. Don't try to talk people into getting in your boat. Check the conversations in your head. Have you ever considered for a moment some course of action that would pull off a miracle, and then the reasonable part of your brain says, let me do you a favor and keep your hopes diminished so that you don't feel pain of disappointment? Planting a seed can often be just writing it on a 3x5 card or sticky note and putting it in the corner of your bathroom mirror so you see it in the corner of your eye while you're brushing your teeth. You might need to put it in a place where no one else can see it. I often do that with my goals at first. Don't put them where someone else can see it in case you want to throw it away tomorrow. Yeah, we don't want anyone to know I had that goal. That would be awkward. One of the things I do with my warriors is I'll say, I'll know you're serious when you publish your goal for everyone to see. You tell everyone 84 days. I don't want to tell people what I'm working on. It says no one cares. They're teenagers. They're not going to, what is your goals for 84 days? No, wait, the conversation's not about me anymore, so why are we talking? I invite you and encourage you to continue to expose and defeat Satan over the next week and tell other people how to do it too, so we can get this ball rolling throughout the whole world. See you next time, friends.
Thank you.